All right, guys, welcome to the Frequency Control Show. We got me and Willie.
What up, Willie's Tried? I'm Willie's Tried in the house.
All right, so today's podcast, we're going to talk about recalibrating your vision, maybe bringing it a little bit closer, not looking at yourself at the mountaintop and what's that look like, and trying to visualize something that's could be 20, 30 years out. You never know, depending on what your goals are. Maybe bringing something closer to say what it looks like the next year and visualizing what the next year looks like. So and that might make it a little bit easier to not feel beat up and like you're not getting where you want, because hell, my vision is billions, and if I make a million, I'd still not feel like I made it anywhere. At what point do you feel like attaboy, you're going in the right direction, keep going, kind of thing? So that's what we want to talk about. Will has been doing a little bit of soul searching in that sense, so I'll let him set it off with that.
Yeah, I kind of had some things recently happen in my life and stuff, and just allowed me to kind of reevaluate a little bit here. And, I wanted to kind of redefine what I want next and bring it in a little bit closer. Maybe even a little bit easier to believe, because I do have a tendency to always be chasing the bigger thing, but not necessarily achieving the little steps to get there. Kind of over visualizing a lot. I was going through my daily takeoff checklist the past couple days, and really making more clear of how I want my mornings to go and how I want to set myself up for the day. And I'm with the whole purpose of closing this year out strong, right? I got out of town, and again, just a real amazing experience getting out of town. Just the type of stuff that went on, was just a wake up call for me that I needed to get out more. Because being out in public, I noticed that being around people and having someone just walk up all close to me, I felt like all uncomfortable and what the heck, without even realizing later on how things went, how amazing that situation was. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell? So, or ended, it was just craziness, man. So it was just like, just coming home after that and just like, man, going back to the mediocrity, man, it kind of shocked me a little bit. And then I had this thing happen with my family, and I got away, and I kind of stepped away a little bit to deal with that, and realized I needed to dial it in a little further. So I dialed in my main game and made it a little bit more next. What do I want next in the current situation I'm in, current living place I'm in, and really dial it in further. And it made it like I just kind of felt a little bit better. I felt more rejuvenated and ready to go again, tackle the kind of mayhem that you go through when you're achieving these things, and the mayhem that uh, can be have negative energy that will keep you from staying focused on what you're really trying to achieve, and forget to be grateful that I'm there in the first place, because it's allowing me to do this show and be able to take actions on what I'm trying to do next. So just again, just redefining what I want and bringing it that much closer, and save those other things I'll think about too. But I really needed to focus because I'm trying to end the year, right? It's time to button it up, close the year strong. Got a couple months here, close it strong We've got a goal we're trying to achieve, trying to push, just set myself in the right position that I can do the best I can to try and achieve these goals. And wherever we end up, right? Um, and moving on to the next year with it. And really redefining it, it just felt a lot better as I'm reading it back to myself in my daily takeoff checklist this morning. And I felt better and more comfortable with it. And it made me just even that much more, it put me in that much more of a better place to be grateful for when I go and tackle the hardest part, which is for me getting from this part to the next part. I'm right there and it's close. And this is when you're tested. This is when things become a little bit harder. Sometimes it's called the wall of fire that you kind of got to go through to get to where you're trying to go. Even though anything I'm going through is nothing compared to what other people have gone through. So I need to be even more grateful that I get to go through what I'm going through to get to where I want to go. That a lot of people have had a harder harder fire to go through than I am to get where I want to go. So I should be grateful that I'm only dealing with this to get there. Or also to wait for the walk away when I never go who's gonna, and that has helped me, has kind of rejuvenated my gratitude for the level I'm going to be leaving soon to go to the next level. I'm grateful to be at this level. I'm grateful for dealing with the people at this level. I've touched a few people at this level on my way out. Maybe I was just there to help some of these people. Maybe I touched one person a certain way that helped them actually achieve their thing, to achieve what they want to achieve. That's why I'm there. Be vulnerable, need to be out there, need to be talking and interacting and rubbing elbows. It's time to get over this hermit life I thought I've liked. When it's really not what I've liked, it's just what I put myself in. What I put myself in. So again, really dialing in your main game to where it's close. Remember, life is like a game. We make up the rules so you win. So I have a tendency to make them so big, they're so hard to win. When you make them smaller, the whole point of making them smaller is so it's a little bit more achievable. And those small wins, then you start creating a winner vibration and winner energy. I'm an achiever. I actually achieve my goals. And then from there, you can make them bigger and bigger. So I just really wanted to really dial them in a little closer and a little further so I can give myself a little bit more edge of a belief as I close this year out. A little bit more grateful of the challenge of leaving the level that I'm at to get there, and I'm getting tested, and the negative forces are trying to keep me there and not letting me succeed. By bringing it in closer, I feel more powerful as I face those forces that are trying to keep me from succeeding, because it's closer and I feel better and I feel more happy to be in that situation in the first place, knowing it's the stepping stone to where that's going to help me get where I'm going next. And anything and all that negativity going on during that time is a blessing, because it's all going to help me. how I react to it. The fact that I'm succeeding at this level helps me know I can succeed at the next level. So keep doing what I'm doing, because obviously it's working at this level, and I'm succeeding at what I'm doing at this level, to take that success into the next level, knowing, oh, if I can succeed at this level, and take that momentum with me as I go into the next level. Um, just been a really monumental week, getting out of town and realizing how important the path that we're on. I was even able to help somebody on their path and have it a shock to them, that of the little amount of time I've spent with them, I've helped this person out more than they were paying $450 a session talking to someone else. I've helped them more in 5 minutes. It's just another wake up call. Keep doing what I'm doing, because my energy and my passion and my enthusiasm will help people. I just got to get to that next level and make it bigger and broader, and keep pushing to get this information to people. Keep pushing the avenues to broaden the viewers of the information, and let it let the floodgates open. So again, redefining what I want really has helped me reset with gratitude. And the reason is because I can see it better. I believe it better. I'm not believing it I'm not looking at it from a place I'm not currently in. I'm looking at what I want from where I am and achieving it. And that little bit of closeness or that little bit of change in what I want. I didn't change what I wanted. I changed how I thought about it. And I changed where I was when it happens. And
Well,
brought
yeah,
that in
at
closer.
what part of the
And that has
timeline?
just
Yeah.
helped me. Yeah, just yes.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
that
At what
you
part of the timeline am I achieving what I want next? Is what I kind of dialed in a little closer,
yeah, visualize one of the
and it's helped
a
me
closer chapter
become more
than
powerful for what's.
yeah, instead of
Yeah.
visualizing what would be 10 years from now, you're like at the top of the mountain and the pinnacle, and you've crested the summit, and it's like, well, what does it look like a year from now? Because I know that the billions I want, or whatever it is you aspire to do, want to win 400 Grammys. Okay, well, what does the first one look like? Because obviously it's going to take some time to get 400, so like you're moving
Wait.
the chains a little bit to where you're at, as opposed to visualizing the touchdown. You're kind of like, I need to visualize what the first down looks like right now. You know what I mean? You're visualizing what do the next 6 plays look like, as opposed to thinking, I'm going to visualize a touchdown. Then you're just always going to try and throw a Hail Mary, and maybe that doesn't work, and then you're feeling like a failure. It's very, it's dangerous at the same time to think too far down the timeline and only focus on that. Then you miss all the steps before that. Then you're only looking towards that, and you're gonna miss out on what moves do I need to make to get there. You can't just think about the win. You have to think about the process a little bit and visualize that.
See, because the best place to be in also is a place of gratitude and thankfulness, and confronting your fears and what you think is stopping you, and then confronting those over and over. This is kind of what we said in last week, but over and over and over, so it doesn't seem as big. And then taking the next step further and comparing what you're going through to other people, and help you realize it's not that big at all, and which all helps you kind of ground yourself and help you just know that even the negative stuff you're going through is positive and it could be worse. So for myself, I just wanted another round of gratitude because it's not always easy to snap into it when you want out of it so bad. I want out of this level that I want so bad. I forget to be grateful. Get to be grateful of why I'm there. Get to be grateful. I even get to be there when other people can't even go that far. Can't even get that far. And be, all because I'm trying to put myself in the best place I can be and vibrate at the highest level for the next 2 months to close this year out. So I'm doing these little tricks to help prepare me for as much power and as much energy and vibrate at the highest level I vibrated this whole year, this last 2 months to finish it strong so I can give my best opportunity to achieve the things I want to achieve by the end of the year. And this was a good reset to help me do that. Dialing in a little further, going out of town at the perfect moment and experiencing what I need to experience to give me that little extra. I'm in the right place. I'm doing the right things. I definitely can be helping people with this. We could definitely be helping people with this. We already are helping people with this on an individual basis by accident. Them coming up to us, them coming up to me when I don't want anything to do with any of them at that moment because I'm just outside hanging out. I'm just doing what I'm doing with good people, right? And getting out of town, getting out of my comfort zone and forgetting I'm getting out of my comfort zone for a reason and not even realizing it until later, but people seeking our counsel, man. And it's just working out like that. We're still like we walking up to people, regurgitate the stuff. We just be ourselves, man, with people because they want because of our energy, man. They know we bring something and don't even know it. We're creating these opportunities without even knowing the opportunities we're creating and just being in that moment and being back home and thinking about it like mind blowing. Oh, I gotta dial this even further because we're about to blow some stuff up here next couple months, finishing this year strong. So every little thing I can do, and I just know because I'm reading my daily takeoff checklist because I want to make sure I'm starting my days off right and I'm back and I'm maybe haven't been on it like I should have been, being lazy but want to finish strong. And my main game just seemed like I need to dial it in a little closer. I feel so I did, and reading that initiative and leadership and getting slapped in the face of what I'm doing, and the best place to develop initiative and leadership is in my daily work that I'm currently trying to leave. Man, like I need to be grateful. I need to go there with gratefulness and gratitude, knowing I'm happy to be here, and this led me to not have to be here anymore and do my own thing and achieve what I want to achieve. And I'm happy for that. And the journey, man, that ups and down of how that all went down. But I was finally able to get over that, and now I'm here, and to be able to look back at it all. I need to think about that too, because I'm feeling really good right now. See what I mean? Like, I take notes on what I need to think about that makes me feel good when I think about it. Oh my gosh. Um, Y'all know how much I can hammer this in, but dial it in your dreams a little further sometimes when you're kind of stuck.
Yeah,
Read that daily
get closer to your,
and you'll start getting outlook out it.
yeah, get closer to your current situation and a little closer to like what is maybe say you're a 17-year-old kid, you're just getting out of school and your goal right now as simple as is having a snowboard and a guitar. You're not even thinking about a car yet. You're just like, I just want a snowboard, a car, and a motorcycle, and I'll feel fucking success, you know? So, as opposed to ultimately, your ultimate goal is to become, you know, wealthy and whatever that number is. Say it's 1 million. Say you're hoping to become a millionaire, you know. But right now, you're sleeping on your friend's couch, so. You know, a guitar, snowboard, and a motorcycle would make you feel pretty successful. You know, as opposed to just thinking about the millions and visualizing you on your cabin and you know, Whistler. You know, that might seem too far removed when you're laying on your friend's couch right now, mooching his top ramen. You know, so you might visualize your own apartment, getting out, having your snowboard, your motorcycle, and your guitar. You know, and you're like, I finally have my own place. I can bring a girlfriend over or guy friend, whatever it is, and hang out, or bring my friends over, play guitar to them, and go snowboarding with my friends, and then ride around town in my motorcycle, get to work, and I have my own place, and so from that standpoint, visualize how that would feel, you know, because right now you're laying on your friend's couch, you know. I remember as a kid, I used to live on Will's couch, and I remember just thinking, oh my God, I got my own place, or I didn't get my own place, but I got a place with some other people that had my own room as opposed to living on a couch. And I had a truck, and I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm coming up. And that feeling of what that felt like to have my own bedroom, I had a new girlfriend, my own room, a truck, and now I feel like, okay, now I can conquer the world. I've kind of got this set up. And so now that propelled me towards where I was trying to go, you know. You know, but the first thing, I didn't even visualize any of that stuff back then, but I do remember at one point visualizing I'm living in a little place in Seattle, and then I'm like, I would really like to have a snowboard, a gun. It was a snowboard, a gun, and a guitar. I didn't want a car or anything. I mean, I did, but I thought that's just way too far out. But it's like, I'd be happy if I had a gun, a snowboard, and a guitar. I would feel like a gangster like with that. That would be awesome. I mean, but you know, all I would do is think about that stuff. And what's crazy is just thinking about that stuff really hard. I very quickly got way past that to car, house, all this other stuff came immediately. Whereas I'm thinking, because it was believable, I swear I was pulled towards the rest of all this other shit super fast. It was like I started out all I wanted is a snowboard, a guitar, and a gun, and really focused on that. And I remember visualizing that like super heavy. Before I knew what that was, I remember just really wanting that so bad that that's all I could think about. You know, I couldn't think about anything else. All I could think about was a snowboard, a gun, and a guitar. And very quickly, I got a truck, a house, a new car, you know, recording studio, just you name it. Just like next thing you know, just loads of stuff, dirt bikes, snowmobiles, all this stuff came super fast, you know. So, you know, in the next couple years, you know, all this stuff came very fast to me. But it started out with just really getting closer to what's achievable in the near future, as opposed to thinking so far out, you know. Very helpful, and I don't know if that's it, but I mean, I was literally manifesting and not even knowing it, so that's a pretty heavy deal to be able to do that. So that's kind of what Will's getting to. We're him and I have been so focused on what does it look like when you're hanging out with Drake in the studio, like as opposed to like, well, what's it look like hanging out in the studio with the local talent and just making music with them. Let's start there. As opposed to going so far out that it's not believable, and then you beat yourself up, and then you start to have these doubts, and then the doubts can actually push you backwards. The universe will actually take you the wrong way. That can happen very quickly too. So you really want to focus on what you want, and then it's got to be a little bit believable, and then grow that belief. Yeah, sure, you have your main big belief, but like, what does that next logical step look like? And then visualize that like with all your heart. Like I said, with my little snowboard gun and my guitar, that's all I could think about, and I was obsessed with it. Obsessed with that. I literally could not think about anything else but that. And with that pulling towards me, like I said, houses, cars, dirt bikes, snowmobiles, recording studios, it all happened. You know what I mean? And it all just pulled right to me. So, and now I struggle to do it. And just as we're talking now, I'm having an epiphany, thinking, oh my God, I don't think I've ever felt as obsessed. Well, no, I did recording studio stuff. I remember I kept doing it. I would do it. Like once that happened, I would move on to the next thing. And I would be like, oh, I got to have, it was a VS 2480. I got to have this thing. And then it was like, next thing you know, it was like, I got to have this compressor. And I just kept, and I would just be so obsessed with all this stuff. And I just had to have more, and I was obsessed with it. And Will knows I had lost friends with it, and just yelling and screaming at people, going, "We got to do this!" And it was like obsessed with that kind of stuff. And then lately, I'm not as obsessed, because I think once you get to a certain point that's comfortable, that extreme feeling is, you're kind of like, hey, if I don't get there, I still got food in the fridge, a nice place, a car to get where I got to go. And, and that hunger, that extreme like obsession is a lot less. That's why a lot of people that are hungry for it, they get it, but they're going, I want extreme on your visions. And I've noticed that lately, where I've kind of like, as we're talking about, I'm like, man, I kind of plateaued with how fast things started coming to me. And I think that extreme feeling of how I always was with everything, I was like, I have to have this, and I can't think about anything else. And guess what? All of a sudden I would have it. I remember I'm making $8 an hour, $9 an hour, and I need to have this $9,000 machine after I just spent, hell, $4,000 of my friend's money, and another $4,000 of another friend's money, and $4,000 of my money. And then next thing you know, some magical way, I'm going to get another $9,000 for an additional machine. And then I got that. And then a $14,000 motorcycle, and then a $9,000 snow. And then it was just like, these things kept coming because I get so extreme about it. And now I find myself being a little bit less extreme with that. And now I think I'm cracking a code here, like, because now I know how I'm going to have my mind, like, be more obsessed, be more like, I have to have that. Whereas back then it was easier to be obsessed about it and not feel guilty, like, man, you have so much, you're already so blessed, you have beautiful children, beautiful wife, big house, blah 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 blah, just pour it on like gravy. But like, it's like, and it makes you feel bad for being extreme about, I have to have this next thing. And I realized that without being extreme, like, I deserve and I have to have it. Because when you're broke and you have nothing, you're like, man, all I want, I don't have shit else. I'm sleeping on a sleeping bag on somebody's couch. I just want a dirt bike, a damn freaking, guitar and a gun. That's all I want. Or a snowboard. That's all I want. And you're like, I want it, and you don't feel like bad that there's other poor people in the world and all this other shit. You're like, I have to have this. And I deserve it. But when you have a bunch of shit, you start to feel like, man, now I'm getting greedy. And you know what? You've got to. If you want as much as Jeff Bezos, hell, is he greedy, or is he having new experiences? He just flew to space. I mean, sure, he just crested right outside the atmosphere, but still, he did it. So he's sure. Is he getting greedy? Maybe. But those are new experiences. Those aren't. You're not asking to have more food and more food and more food after you already have a bunch of food. You're saying, I want more and more and more. of something else, not of the same thing, you know. So and if it's money, more money, it's really more money, so you get more experiences and help your family have more experiences and get through life. But again, I noticed the difference of when it moved super fast for me and then when it's moved super slow. And that's the lack of obsession, the lack of being super hyper, you know, I need it, it's got to happen, and obsessed, you know, hyper obsessed about it. And I've noticed that I'm not as hyper obsessed. I'm working extra hard, harder than I ever have in my life, and more committed than I've ever been in my life. And things are moving right. At least you see these things in place, but it's coming slower than I thought. And I just realized as we're talking now, and Will says move it sooner, like, oh my God, that is how all that other shit moves so fast. I was like hyper obsessed, and it was like, it has to happen or nothing else. I don't care about anything else. This is all I want. And somehow the universe and everything would figure itself out. Your brain, whatever you want to call it, God, whatever, it figures itself out and it happens. And that's when I got madly I remember being like, it was like the air I breathe. It was literally like, all I want is this. Like, I want air, like I want my next breath. And then now I don't do that, and now things come very slow. So I'm got to change my whole shit up and figure out how I'm going to do this, because it's like, and I like how Will's talking about bringing it closer in your timeline as to what's next. And if I can think about what's next strongly, just because like when I was thinking about the guitars and the snowboards and all that stuff, that was the next thing. It was the next thing I wanted. It wasn't thinking about a gold chain and a Lamborghini yet. I was like, just give me a guitar and a gun right now. You know, that's all. Like, just that's what I gotta have, right? I wasn't like thinking down the timeline. So, how can I think closer to like this is my next thing, and then be hyper obsessed about it? And I've got to figure out how to do that. And I think part of that is literally thinking closer to what's the next logical step, then and visualizing and obsessing over that, as opposed to way down the line. You know, instead of obsessing about a Lamborghini and say you're still walking and you're riding your bicycle, you know, maybe you should obsess about the next Audi you want, you know, an A8 or something, you know, something closer. But I've got to dabble with that and start reading more material around like the hyper obsession piece. You know, I'm sure Will has a bunch for it, but for me, I'm really having a light bulb moment where I'm like, I remember when I was super extreme, and these things literally came very quickly. I'm talking within the next few months. Sure, you're like, big deal. So of course, you got a dirt or a motorcycle and a guitar, big deal. I'm like, no. That came with the house, dirt. I'm talking $100,000 worth of shit immediately. $250,000 worth of shit like very soon after. You know, like a lot of shit came all at like one time. Massive, like studios, like this shit just kept coming, right? Will knows he watched it happen. Like, man, this motherfucker. Sorry, because I know Will's gonna be pissed. You got to cut all this crap out. But like it literally. I know Will or any of my friends were.
Of creating what you want. Just download that daily takeoff checklist and start your process of changing your mindset, of learning how to clearly define what you want and why. Clearly defining your main game and your next logical hustles on how to achieve those main games, and how important those two steps are in the daily takeoff checklist, because those are the two things you're really going to use over and over and over for the rest of your life once you kind of start figuring that out. So download that daily takeoff checklist. Join in these conversations sign in and let's talk about some stuff.
Yeah, you guys are welcome to tap
Let's
in.
hear
You
how
know.
has helped you, or let's hear how you've struggled trying to use some of this information. Because guarantee you we have too. You know, so that's all I got. I'm kind of excited about keep keeping it moving, man. Like, comment, subscribe.
Yep.
Let's go.
Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Again, Will said a key thing there. Chime in, jump on, request. You can hit us in the comment section and say, yo, I want to get on. Get on. We'll talk to you directly about this stuff. So
Let's talk about this.
let's
stuff.
talk about it. All right, guys. See you next week, Thursday.